Okay, hello everyone. My name is Lamecca Holmes. I am the director of the East Flatbush Community Partnership, and you are joining us today for our March monthly meeting. On our agenda for today, let me bring up that slide. We have our East Flatbush Community Partnership updates. We have some words of encouragement from Evangelist Richard Alawale. We have a segment from Dr. T. Thaddeus Brown, and he's representing Phoenix House of New York and Long Island. And we also have Selena LeBron, who's going to be leading us in the mental health segment, as well as some program updates. Cindy?
Hello, everyone. Cindy Reed here, community organizer with the East Flatbush Community Partnership. And for our updates, we have our virtual open door, which is basically a resource fair that we've created for East Flatbush residents to share information and gain access to resources as well. This meeting has been really powerful with the partners that we've been able to connect and present. We had a great turnout last open door earlier this month. So just sharing this, the next one is going to be April 12th. Letting everyone know again, we continue to have our community. Is there someone we need to mute? Thank you. For our community aid, it continues to be provided to residents who've fallen behind on their utility bill. If they are referred by an organization, they do not need to provide proof of financial hardship since they've already been vetted by your program if you refer them. But if a client, what you call a resident, applies on their own, they would have to show proof of that hardship. But this community aid is still open. We are providing 2 gift cards in the amount of $75 each. We have some open positions. One of them is the community ambassador position, which is a part-time position. We have the flyer on our newsletter. It's been going out there. So if there's anyone you know that's interested in community work and connecting with the community and sharing information with people, this would be a great opportunity for them. Again, it's part-time and the hours are flexible as well. Our second position that is open is the administrative assistant. This position is open now for anyone to apply. If you know of anyone that is able to apply to this position, we please encourage you to recommend them or encourage them to apply as well. The links, I will put the links in the chat for applying for both of those as well. We have an upcoming Women's Summit called What's Next for Her. It's an annual event. We are proud to have this event this year again in collaboration with multiple partners such as Bushwick Community Partnership, Bed-Stuy Community Partnership, as well as Bedford-Stuyvesant's Family Center, Gilead Sciences, Caribbean Women Health Association, Sesame Flyers International, Sesame International Flyers, and Young Invincibles. And there's more providers, but this is going to be a great event on this Saturday at 10:30. Is there more, Lamecca?
Nope, that's it. Thank you, Cindy. I just wanted to say for the Women's Summit that we have coming up, I am excited because we started advertising, I want to say like last week, and within a few days, we had 60 women register. So thank you everyone who helped us to promote that event, and I'm looking forward to it. So I wanted to share some information that was collected about the partnership, just to say thank you for all of the ways that you help us do the work that we do. I just want to highlight a couple things on this slide. The large bar, food distribution. We had a chance to work with churches in East Flatbush, and we were able to provide food for thousands of families. And I just want to say thank you to all of you who helped out with that. We greatly appreciate it. And then I want to also share the next slide because it shows the transition as to what happened in 2021. So give me a moment. And particularly around community events. So as you can see, our community events increased as well, and the number of participants increased to thousands. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Just wanted to share some graphical data to just encourage you that the work we're doing, it is definitely helping residents. So with that said, I would like to remind you to please introduce yourself in the chat if you have not already. And I want to turn it over to Richard Alawale. He is the evangelist of the New York City Church of Christ, the Brooklyn region. Richard, it's all yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure being with you all this afternoon. As Lamaka just said, I'm the evangelist for the Brooklyn region of the New York City Church of Christ. The New York City Church of Christ is a non-denominational church, and we are spread around in 11 regions around the New York City area and also in New Jersey. Many of our members live in East Flatbush, and I'm very excited to be able to share some words of encouragement with us this afternoon. I want to start off by thanking you all for all the work you do in the community, especially this last 24 months. COVID has literally changed all of our lives, not only here in East Flatbush and in New York City and in Brooklyn, but literally all over the world. And my prayer is that God will continue to strengthen you and will continue to renew you as you serve and take care of others. And so I want to begin this afternoon by asking us, how are you doing? I know it's been tough. I know it hasn't been easy. And I hope and pray that the few words I'm going to be sharing in the next few minutes will truly encourage you to hang in there and to not give up. In Matthew chapter 11, beginning in verse 28, Jesus said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." This is an incredible invitation that God makes to all of us every single day. Jesus says, "Come to me." He's asking us the question, are you weary and burdened? Are you tired? He says, "Come to me." Many of us have lost friends, family members, neighbors, perhaps co-workers to COVID-19. Life has been tough. Some of us, we've lost jobs. For me, personally, I lost a sister to COVID-19 January of 2020. And throughout last year, I lost 3 very close friends to me, to COVID-19. And I pray that even as we continue to live with COVID, I pray that God will continue to comfort every single one of us. And I believe that's why Jesus says in Matthew 11, that as we face these challenges, we need to come to him. We need to draw closer to him. The challenges that you and I have faced in the last 24 months, and I know we're still going to continue to face, needs to cause us to draw closer to God. It doesn't just happen. We have to decide to draw close to him. In James 4, in verse 6 says, "Draw near to me and I will draw near to you." We know we live in a fallen world, that this world will never be perfect. And it will never be perfect because this is not home. One day, we're going to transition out of this place and we're going to go spend eternity with God. And so in the meantime, Jesus says, you know what? As we face stuff in this life, bring it to me. When you and I approach God in prayer, when we get on our knees, when we cry out to God in prayer, we will get 1 of 4 answers. A lot of times when you and I pray for things, God will say yes. I'm a cancer survivor. I was diagnosed with aggressive prostate cancer in 2016. I had surgery, went through 40 rounds of radiation a year later. And I also was on hormone therapy for 2 years. And as I'm sitting here speaking to you this afternoon, I am cancer-free. I cried out to God. A lot of people cried out to God on my behalf. And our Heavenly Father said, yes. And yes is awesome. Yes is good. It encourages us. But the truth is, sometimes when we pray, God will tell us no. Again, I remember after being healed of cancer, I got on my knees, my wife and we started to pray. We were living in Texas at the time, Corpus Christi, Texas, where we had gone to plant a new church. And we started to pray that if God wanted us somewhere else, that he would make it very clear that we're not going to call anybody. But if God wanted us somewhere else, for him to make it clear. The next thing you know, our sister congregation in Los Angeles called. Went over there, interviewed. We felt it was going to be LA. We loved it. It was tremendous. But God said no. God said no. I cried for 2 days. And here we are in New York City. We've been here now about 17 months. We moved here in the middle of the pandemic. But God said no to me moving to Los Angeles. And I'm happy with that no. Sometimes the third answer God will give us in prayer is he will tell us to wait. And I don't know if you're like me, I don't like waiting. I like things the moment I want them. I came to this country originally back in 1980 from Nigeria. I am Nigerian by birth, and my wife and I became US citizens about 10 years ago. But I came to this country and I vowed never to go back to Africa. I went up to school in Connecticut, not far from here, at the University of Bridgeport in Connecticut. I got a bachelor's degree in accounting, and I wanted to do an MBA, and I also wanted to go to law school. And as God would have it, that school had both programs, but you had to apply to both schools separately. I had to apply to the business school to get an MBA, and I had to apply to their law school to get a law degree separately. The business school accepted my application for my MBA, but the law school turned me down. And again, I remember really being down and discouraged, but all God was doing was wait. Because a couple of years later, when I finished my MBA, the University of Florida in Gainesville gave me a scholarship to attend their law school. And so I moved down to Florida and I went to law school. And would you believe it? It was in Gainesville, Florida, almost 36 years ago, that I became a true Christian. I read God's word. I decided to repent of my sins and to do exactly what it says. And I've been a Christian now for almost 36 years. So much so that when I graduated from law school, I moved up to be with our church in Boston. And then 6 months later, I find myself in the full-time ministry, and I've been a full-time minister now for 33 years. But back then, when I prayed that prayer to go to law school, God said, wait, because he had something better. And then finally, the fourth answer we sometimes get from God, when God says, I will do you one better. I will do more than you are asking. I love those. People sometimes ask me, are you still a lawyer? Yes, I am. Yes, I'm not practicing law anymore. But every Sunday when I get up on a pulpit, even right now as I'm speaking to you, and when we have midweek, every Wednesday night, I am still pleading God's case. That is the way I see it. And guess what? I haven't lost the case yet. God has done me one better. And I've been doing this now for 33 years. And so I'm saying to us this afternoon that whatever it is that you're going through in life, don't give up. Continue to pray. Continue to trust your God. I don't believe God has brought you this far to now abandon you. He's not that kind of a God. If anything, he's a good God. Yes, we live in a fallen world. Jesus says, in this world, you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world. I'm very thankful that, if anything, one of the things that I'm very thankful for, that I've learned through all this COVID pandemic, is three things. I've learned that, you know what? We can't do it all. Prior to COVID, the pace of this world was just incredible. And I've come to realize that we can't do it all. I've also come to realize that we can't have it all. A lot of us were busy running the rat race, so to speak, but we can't have it all. And I believe, and I'm thankful that God has used this pandemic to get us to slow down and to get us to really examine ourselves and what's really important in life. And finally, I also believe that we've learned that we don't deserve it all. And so even this afternoon, as we're gathered here on this meeting together, I want you to make a list of things that you are thankful for. Remember what it says in scripture in Philippians 4:6, and this is where I'm going to end up. It says, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. I hope these words have been encouraging. Thank you so much for the invitation, and thank you for listening. God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate your vulnerability, and thank you for joining us today. All righty, we're going to continue with our agenda. We have, I need to go back to my presentation. Give me one moment, everyone. Okay. So our next presenter is T. Thaddeus Brown, Dr. T. Thaddeus Brown, and he's representing from the Brooklyn Community Recovery Center, Phoenix House. Dr. Brown, are you ready?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is T. Thaddeus Brown. I am a program coordinator here at Phoenix House of New York, Long Island, Brooklyn Community Recovery Center, located here at 20 New York Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, 11216. We also have a satellite site across the street at Restoration Plaza at 1368 Fulton Street on the 4th floor, Suite 417. I want to bring up our presentation for today. So thank you to the East Flatbush Community Partnership for inviting us back to this meeting. Last month at the meeting, I had the honor and the privilege of presenting a very small piece on mental health as it related to stress reduction. So today we're going to do a more intensive presentation of the Brooklyn Community Recovery Center of Phoenix House, New York, Long Island. But before I go into the specific content, let me just say that, Phoenix House has been in existence for over 50 years, and we are coming up on our anniversary in May. And we're looking forward to, celebrating that great achievement, that milestone, that silver anniversary, if you will. And also, we will have tons of programming to reflect, that journey and celebrating that journey. So the Brooklyn Community Recovery Center, let me just say, is although it's affiliated with Phoenix House, New York, Long Island, is not a clinical facility in itself. We do have approximately 8 clinical facilities across the region. We have a residential program and an outpatient program out in Long Island City, Queens. We also have programs under OMH, Office of Mental Health, out in Springfield Gardens, as well as Brentwood, Long Island. We have residential programs in Harper, Long Island, as well as Ronkonkoma. And we also have a residential program, Wayne Scott, out in the area of East Hampton, and an outpatient treatment program located in the town of East Hampton, Long Island. The Brooklyn Community Recovery Center was established in 2011, 2012. It was the first OASIS licensed and funded community recovery and outreach center here in downstate and here in Brooklyn, of course. Over the years, the program here at the Brooklyn Community Recovery Center, was a very vital entity and very vibrant as well in delivering what is known as recovery-oriented services, peer recovery-related services. Moving forward to more recent times, the COVID pandemic, just like how it has impacted on, most other organizations over the past 2.5 years coming up on now, it also impacted on the Brooklyn Community Recovery Center's ability to provide services to the extent nature that we had previously done. However, we're very proud to say that throughout the COVID onset to a present date, we have remained open. In the early days through COVID, most of our services were on a telehealth, if you will, basis. There was some walk-ins by appointments, but mostly we just kept the doors open and we stayed in contact, with those members of the Community Recovery Center that had participated prior to COVID, just to do check-ins and make sure, see how everyone was doing and if there was any way that we could support. In 2020, we received a grant from the Mother Cabrini Foundation to expand the program. And once we got that grant, starting back in May of 2020, we began to utilize that funding to implement various other types of programming to go along with what had existed, through 2020 to that point. And we were able to happily to say to deliver on that grant and to expand the Brooklyn Community Recovery Center's touch, accessibility, and impact on the community as it pertains to delivering services along a holistic health and wellness continuum. So the Brooklyn Community Recovery Center is a peer-driven drug and alcohol addiction recovery center, serving the Bedford-Stuyvesant and Central Brooklyn area, but we're not limited to the Bedford-Stuyvesant Central Brooklyn area. It's our vision, intent, and it has been our practice over the past 2.5 years to extend our reach and accessibility across the borough of Brooklyn and its diverse population. We facilitate referrals and provide resources and links to individuals, to community supports that may assist them in a process of identifying their self-directed pathway to recovery from alcohol and/or substance use disorders. Our primary goal is to inspire and empower those that we engage with the recovery skills and tools necessary to become more healthy, purposeful, and successful members of the community, and to enjoy the rewards of recovery. I might add that, our approach is not limited to abstinence-based recovery. We believe that, there are multiple pathways that a person and or family may choose to engage in And right now, aligned with our approach, OASIS is supporting that as we are moving more towards a harm reduction to recovery type model across the continuum of care here in New York State. OASIS, the Office of Alcohol and Substance Use Support Services, is very adamant about making that shift, moving forward to a more strength-based, person-centered, trauma-informed, and culturally responsive approach to recovery. Treatment and recovery on demand. And we would like to create opportunities for those who choose to engage in a process of abstinence-based recovery, as well as those that may choose other pathways, including harm reduction, including medication-supported recovery, whether it's through 12-step self-help, mutual help, or any other potential pathway to recovery. We pride ourselves here at the Brooklyn Community Recovery Center on meeting individuals and families where they are in their process in terms of their motivation for change and their aspirations based on a strength, needs, abilities, and preference model. We are committed to encouraging health and wellness activities as well as helping members, whether they are Brooklyn Community Recovery Center members / participants or community members, to enhance their job readiness skills. We support, all aspects of recovery, which is occupational, which is housing, transportation, and of course, wellness. We offer hope and empowerment to all individuals seeking strength in recovery. In fact, we actually have a Wednesday evening program here, Strengthening Families program that we're actually doing in partnership with one of our New York State opioid response grantee organizations. The foundation, of our services here at the Brooklyn Community Recovery Center are recovery oriented in nature, and peer services are right at the root of that. We will circle back to that in a moment, but right now I'd like to talk about, holistic programming and how we view that through the 8 dimensions of wellness. According to SAMHSA, the 8 dimensions of wellness are emotional, coping effectively with life and creating satisfying relationships, social, developing a sense of connection, belonging, and well-developed support systems, spiritual, expanding our sense of purpose and meaning in life. We are, I'm happy to also say here, we're respectful not only of all cultural differences and things of that nature, but all faith differences as well. We pride ourselves on being truly, truly open and respectful and supportive of all faith types. Occupational, personal satisfaction and enrichment derived from one's work. Intellectual, recognizing creative abilities and finding ways to expand one's knowledge and skill. Financial, satisfaction with current and future financial relations. Physical, recognizing the need for physical activity, whether it's diet, sleep, nutrition, or otherwise. Environmental, good health by occupying pleasant, stimulating environments that support well-being. And as you look at this, you can see that the 8 dimensions of wellness are reflective of the social determinants of health. And so by promoting and supporting individuals and families in strengthening these areas of their life, we are also helping to decrease some of the negative impacts of the social determinants of health on an individual, family, and community level. When we talk about physical wellness, you know, we have several programs that we are delivering at this time. We came into what's called a state opioid response grant along with 11 other organizations as part of the Brooklyn Regional Network under SAMHSA and OASIS. And that network is made up of prevention, treatment, and recovery organizations. One of our primary goal deliverables, you know, has been developing a holistic health and wellness program, which we call HOPE. And as part of that, you know, we have rolled out, you know, a variety of holistic health and wellness activities. One that we're very proud of is the Three Bodies Workshop. It is an energy self-management workshop that really focuses on physical power, heart power, and also brain power as a method of self-healing. It has a AccuCare component to it, including, you know, use of, you know, hands and fingers to apply various types of pressures to acupressure meridians to promote stress reduction and to redirect inner body energies to promote health. This occurs on Saturdays at 1:30 p.m. Virtual sessions on Zoom. This coming Saturday will be a virtual session. And for more information on that, you can go to our link and it will take you to our calendar, and our calendar will provide the information to register and enroll in that programming. We also do Power Tai Chi. We do Phoenix Fitness here on Thursdays at 3 p.m. On Mondays at 6:30, we have a fantastic program, Smooth Move Yoga class, and it teaches various yoga techniques to promote digestive system wellness. Some additional programs that we have here, Sound Meditation Group. We also have a mindfulness meditation group with Judy Yang. She is a licensed creative arts therapist. She's also a KSAC, and she is our lead consultant in terms of arts and wellness programming here at the Brooklyn Community Recovery Center. We're going to ensure that each and every one of you have the opportunity, you know, to have all of this information at the end of this presentation. We have some programming coming up starting soon. Anger management will be beginning on April 4th. It will be Mondays at 11 a.m. via Zoom. For more information on that, you can also go to our programming page in our calendar. As mentioned earlier, you know, part of our holistic wellness programming under social wellness, we have this amazing balanced art programming that is facilitated by Lionel Valet, and it occurs on Mondays and Wednesdays from 3:30 to 5:30. And it's a safe, creative space to help persons who participate to visualize, you know, their recovery and to reflect that through art. We have an open studio art therapy, which is facilitated by Judy Yang, and that occurs on Tuesday afternoons from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. here at the Brooklyn Community Recovery Center. And we also have a garden club, which will be occurring this Saturday here at the Brooklyn Community Recovery Center. And this is about, working together with members of the community and or anyone that, chooses to participate in strengthening their relationship to nature in terms of how to cultivate the soil, to prepare the soil, to plant seeds, and to nurture and grow, through that process of something of potential beauty as a reflective way of sort of symbolizing their own seeding for recovery and nurturing their process and their wellness moving forward. All of these programs are free at no cost. Another one of our programming tracks is our peer recovery advocate and recovery coach training and pathway to employment program. We have a training that is starting this current, this Monday, the 28th. It runs 8 consecutive days, Monday to Friday, 9:30 to 5 p.m. for the first week, and the second week from 9:30 to 4 p.m. on Tuesday and Monday and Tuesday, and till 3 p.m. on Wednesday. This is a 46-hour peer recovery professional foundations training approved by ASAP New York State Certification Board, and OASIS, and is modeled on the CCAR Peer Recovery Coach Academy and Ethical Principles for Professionals model, which is the standard for the IC and RC, which is the international body that accredits the program for 48 states here in the United States. This is a pathway for persons with lived experience with substance use disorders, specifically opioid or stimulant use disorders. However, a person on a secondary or tertiary level can have a history of other types of substance use disorders, such as persons can be defined as having a cocaine use disorder. Persons can be having problems or had problems with maybe cannabis use, nicotine, and or mental health recovery, or just self-identify as being a person in recovery. They need to go through a rather intensive interviewing process in order to meet the criteria, along with being 18 years of age or older, having a high school diploma or GED, be a citizen, and have a desire to transition or translate their experience as a person impacted by substance use into helping others. And for those that qualify, they go through the 46-hour training. And then once the training is complete, over the next few weeks, we assist and support them in putting in their applications to the New York State Certification Board, so that potentially within 60 days from the start of training, they can have a New York State Certified Recovery Peer Advocate provisional certification in their possession, which now makes them work eligible in an OASIS or Medicaid facility that with Medicaid billing. It's a great entry level opportunity into the field. We also support individuals beyond that as well with a wide menu of peer recovery support programming, skills enhancement, internships, volunteer opportunities, also assistance in job preparation, identifying job opportunities and placement in employment, as well as assisting those that move on to, in the process of taking the full examination, taking the examination for the full SERPA credential with a SERPA exam prep course. So again, here it just speaks about a recovery peer advocate or coach is a person who helps remove personal and environmental obstacles to recovery, links the newly recovering person to the recovering community, and serves as a personal guide and mentor in the management of personal and family recovery. Typically, they work in emergency rooms, they work in outpatient clinics, clubhouses, recovery centers, treatment facilities, and various other community-based and/or institutional settings, providing peer recovery support, that peer-to-peer, unconditional positive regard, and sharing their own experiences and making effective use of themselves on a professional level. Our peer professional development and wellness series support group is every Saturday from 12 p.m. It's in person here at the Brooklyn Community Recovery Center and also on Zoom. We have an education and career development component. We have a job vocational educational counselor and job and career coach who works with individuals on a one-to-one basis to help them to identify their career profiles, assist them with resumes, identifying job opportunities, and providing them with additional supports. We just came into an agreement with Dress for Success, where we are able to refer our female peers and other participants in our program to Dress for Success so that they can be fitted and clothed for business attire to support their transition into the workforce. We're also looking to work out an agreement with Men with Suits as well, so that we can provide that equity for our male participants as well. And then another track on our programming is telehealth. In fact, telehealth, now that COVID has come and is still here, has grown, as some of you are aware, substantially, as a mode, for connecting persons to healthcare. So the Brooklyn Community Recovery Center recently was able to secure the funding through the SOARS grant and has since brought in 2 telehealth booths so that persons from the community who may need a safe and confidential environment, can borrow a tablet from us at our site across the street at 1368 Fulton Street, and they can utilize the booth to, communicate with their healthcare providers. We also make that available to professionals who may be out in the field working with persons in the field, and they too may need a safe place, to conduct their business. So this is available not just to community members, not just to persons in recovery, but also to persons who are actually working in the field and providing services to the community. And all of this is on an appointment basis. And I'm going to speak more to this in a moment. So this, on Friday, April 1st, we're going to be having an open house ribbon cutting ceremony, planting the seeds of recovery from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. here at the Brooklyn Community Recovery Center. And everyone on this call, is certainly invited, to come join us, especially our colleagues from East Flatbush Community Partnership, excuse me. Let me take a little sip here. So it's a little dry. We're going to be inviting everyone out to visit our new space across the street at the Brooklyn, at the Restoration Plaza. Also, to drop in and take a look at our current space here at 20 New York Avenue, but to view our telehealth booths over at 1368 Fulton Street and enjoy an evening of networking. We're going to have several presenters that are going to be speaking to the concept of planting the seeds of recovery, which was sort of born out of a conversation of our leadership team here based on the screenplay, A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. And the whole idea is to sort of symbolize, but also put into practicality, the planting of seeds of recovery here in Brooklyn. And so that we as a community can work in partnership in nurturing those seeds and grow the tree of recovery throughout the borough of Brooklyn and beyond. So we will ensure that that you receive this invitation, and certainly we hope that you will be able to join us. We're also recruiting for our Brooklyn Community Recovery Center Community Advisory Board. So if there's anyone out there in the East Flatbush Community Partnership or any of the member organizations that have a passion, for supporting recovery, we invite you to reach out to us, and express your interest in possibly coming on as a member of the Brooklyn Community Recovery Center Advisory Board. And so this screen here takes you to our webpage. And here's where you can find, just the link that I put in the chat earlier will bring you here. It's just another viewing of our programming. But it also takes you to some other areas of our webpage where you can gather more information about both Phoenix House, New York, Long Island, and the Brooklyn Community Recovery Center. And do forgive me, we're having some internet gremlins on our end. So the system is moving kind of slowly, and for the most part, the way it wants to at this point. And you'll see from our link, that there's so much more programming that we're offering. We have a spring arts and craft program coming up. And I know my time is short right now, but on April the 8th, we're having an arts and crafts fair right here at the Brooklyn Community Recovery Center between 2 and 5 p.m. And we're inviting organizations, or members of organizations from the community, to share their art with us, and, so that we might be able to display it as part of the Arts and Crafts Fair. And this will be a alcohol-free event, as it will be coinciding with April Alcohol Awareness Month. So I want to come out of that, and there's one last thing I'd like to share with the group. This is a video from February 8th, Stand Up for Recovery Day. It was an event that we did here in Brooklyn in partnership with the state for Friends of Recovery New York, which is a rock recovery organization consortium across New York State. We were the Brooklyn ambassadors. And so here's a very brief video of that event.
So Stand Up for Recovery Day was really an amazing event. It's a day of
And it may not allow me to show it. As I mentioned, we're having some internet gremlins on this end, so I do apologize for that.
advocacy. And I think this year it was so important to lift up our voices and
So we'll hold back on that because I know our time is short. So if there's any questions or anything, I'd be happy to take a few, time permitting.
I did have a question that was answered privately, but I would like to share the answer with everyone. I asked if the programs are open to the public, and the answer was yes. I think that is amazing because there are many that I want to come to. Does anyone else have any questions for Dr. Brown? Yes, Savannah?
Oh,
I
I'm sorry.
just have, can I get the flyers? I believe I received them in the past, but I haven't seen any recent emails with the flyers that you showed today. So if you can email me those, Dr. Brown, that would be great, please.
Absolutely. We'll be sure that that you receive them, Cindy. Absolutely.
Savannah, did you want to speak?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was just clapping. Thank you, Dr. Brown.
Okay.
Great presentation.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions or comments for Dr. Brown?
I have a question. I wanted to find out, Dr. Brown, for the folks, do you also deal with folks who may have like a dual diagnosis, like substance abuse and also like a psychiatric?
Yeah, we have multiple persons that utilize our services here that would fit that profile. We're happy to say that, you know, as part of our staff, we also have a New York State OMH certified peer specialist here as well, who's duly certified as a SERPA. We also have several staff here, you know, that are clinically licensed, including myself and our director, Sean Willis. So, you know, we consider ourselves to be a pathway to treatment and or recovery, whether or not a person is, you know, substance use specific or they have a dual diagnosis. We will work with them as appropriate and, you know, connect them to the appropriate level of care and or services and resources. Yes.
And one other question is, what's the age range that you work with?
Ideally 18 and above. However, if we do have multiple activities that we've done in the past, family-oriented activities where there have been youth under 18 present, what we typically will do if there's something that is open to youth or something that's sort of geared towards youth, we certainly would want there to be an adult presence, whether it is parents, educators, or staff to be a part of that, because we don't do youth-specific services, but we do incorporate services that are youth-friendly as part of our program, youth and family-friendly. Any other questions? I'd be happy to take one more, time permitting. Okay. So as mentioned earlier, I did put our link in the chat box earlier. And then we'll also be sure to send, you know, all of our information, you know, regarding, you know, upcoming programming over to Cindy and the team over there so that they can distribute it across the East Flatbush Community Partnership family.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. We really appreciate you and all the information you shared. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lamaka. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you and the work that you and Cindy and the rest of the team and the members of organizations of the partnership are doing to strengthen and support the families in East Flatbush in general. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to continue with our presentation. Our next speaker is Selena LeBron. And one moment, she is the Senior Community Outreach Specialist at New York Psychotherapy and Counseling, representing Bushwick Child and Family Mental Health. Selena is going to share about the organization she's representing, as well as lead us in a mental health segment. Selena?
Thank you, Lamaka. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Selena LeBron. I am part of the outreach team here at NYPCC. We provide services throughout the 5 boroughs. However, my office is in the Bushwick area, but I primarily do outreach in the Brooklyn area. I'm going to share my screen. Just give me one second. hoping that everyone's doing well today and enjoying the new spring weather, which doesn't feel so much like spring today, but hope everyone's taking a part of taking that deep breath and fresh air in our new spring that we're enjoying here. Just give me 1 second. I just had it up and I don't know what happened. Here you go. Okay. So I won't hold you all too long. So today's topic is on understanding mental health and how to help someone. But before we get into that, just want to share what NYPCC does and what we provide in whole. So we are a mental health clinic that provides counseling services to children and adults. We're open 7 days a week. We don't have a wait list. And we also provide services to children beginning at 3 years old. So we pretty much see where everyone from 3 years old to 100. We know that for us, family therapy is a must because in order for us to help a child, we have to help the entire unit. We also provided these services for individuals and couples, and we have an adult client care coordination program. Bilingual psychiatrists said that are also available, providing medication therapy when needed. Services are also provided in several languages like Espanol, French Creole, Urdu, and some Cantonese. And we're always willing, ready, and able to go the extra mile to help the children and families in our communities. We attend food pantries, any events that are happening in our community. We like to meet the community where they are. And we also provide free workshops such as this one at free cost to raise an awareness about mental health, but also just educate our community members. So we'll be talking about what does mental health mean to you? Also, why is mental health important? What are some of the common myths about mental illness? Why women suffer from mental illness more than men? How does your family view mental illness? Why do people stigmatize mental illness? And how is mental illness portrayed in the media? So mental health is the ability to function successfully in daily activities, such as being able to develop healthy relationships, ability to cope and adapt to different changes. What is a mental illness? A mental illness are mental disorders that cause disturbances in a person's emotion, thinking, and or behavior. So here you see already the difference, right? Because we all have mental health. And this is important because a lot of folks like to differentiate, you know, even mental health from physical health when they both really go hand in hand. And there is a difference between having a mental, going through mental health challenges, which we all do, and having a mental illness. The reason why we should care about a mental illness is because people have developed negative attitudes towards people with mental illnesses. And as a result, they are not receiving the help that they need. Every year, an estimated 18%, which is 44 million of adults 18 and older suffer from a mental illness. And in 2016, out of 44 million, only 19.2 million received mental health treatment. Women were at 21% and men at 14%. So I just want to interact with you all. Feel free to unmute yourself or type in the chat. Why do you think the number is in women is higher than the percentage in men? Come on, guys. I know we've been through a lot of presentations, but I just want to engage with you and just kind of see where your mind is and challenge you. Why do you think the 21% is the rate in mental illness is higher in women than in men? Cultural expectations, yes. Maylene, thank you. Anyone else? The double standard, yes. Women are more open to, yes, correct, Victor, right? So that's actually pinpoints it right there. You know, a lot of men, their ego, right? You know, their pride, they don't want to seek out help. Yes, correct, Alejandro. Thank you so much. All right. So another interactive, I guess, game or challenge we want to do here today with you all is fact or myth. So you can go ahead and type that in the chat. All right. So all people with mental illness are dangerous. Is that a fact or myth? absolutely. It is a myth, correct. Mental health does not affect children or teenagers. Any problems are just part of growing up. Is that a fact or myth? Yes, you guys are on a roll. All right. So all people with schizophrenia are dangerous. Is that a fact or myth? Yes, it's a myth. It is the parent's fault if a child suffers from mental health problems. Is that a fact or myth? Right. All right. You guys are on your mental health 101. I love it. All right. People with mental illnesses never recover. Is that a fact or myth? Good job. It is a myth, because this is why mental health treatment is available, so that they can recover. Stigma and discrimination discourages people from seeking professional help and treatment. Is that a fact or myth? Good job. Fact. Yes. I wish I had like raffle cards I could give it away. All right. Most people living with mental illnesses lead productive lives despite their challenges. Is that a fact or myth? Good job. Yes, it is a fact. And now, last but not least, LGBTQ members are twice as likely than the general population to develop a mental health disorder. Fact or myth? Yes, it is a fact. And the reason being is that they are already dealing with their mental health issues. And then besides, on top of that, they're dealing with being outcasted, not being accepted, right? So they are twice as likely to have a mental health disorder. Thank you for participating. So what causes mental health? There is no single cause for mental illness. There are many factors that can influence a mental disorder, right? So like biological factors, environmental factors, psychological factors. So biological factors can be, for example, learned behavior, right? When you have a parent that's living in the home and they are dealing with a mental illness and the child is repeating whatever the parent is doing, right? It can play a factor in their mental health, right? It can become learned behavior. They feel like that's the only way to be, right? Environmental factors, gun violence, community violence, everything that's going on around us, poverty, that can definitely take a influence on our mental health. Psychological factors, trauma, right? Things that we have gone through, vicarious trauma, watching the news, all the things that's happening in the world, that can definitely have an influence on our mental disorder. So what are the most common mental health disorders in the US? Here it states that depression/major depression disorder is the leading cause of disability in the United States, affecting more than 16.1 million Americans adults per year. Depression is more prevalent in women than men. And general anxiety disorder affects 6.8 million adults, and only 3.1 are receiving treatment. So you can kind of see here the stigma that is attached to that, right? So 6.8 adults have it, but only 3.1 are receiving treatment. So here are some of the early warning signs that a person is mentally ill. Eating or sleeping too much or too little, right? Pulling away from people and usual activities. If you're one that you really like to, or you're very outgoing and you see yourself really kind of like pulling away, that's definitely a sign. Having low to no energy, feeling numb, or like nothing matters. Having unexplained aches and pains, right? We all get that little pain in our neck, or like, I had this pillow for like 5 years, or I just bought a new pillow and my neck is still hurting me. Sometimes it's just stress, guys. All right, listen to your body. Feeling helpless or hopeless, smoking, drinking, or using drugs more than usual. I'm not talking about the casual happy hour. I'm talking about it's on a consistent basis and you kind of are now depending on it. Feeling unusually confused, forgetful, on edge, angry, upset, worried, or scared. Yelling or fighting with family and friends. Experiencing severe mood swings that cause problems in relationships. And I'm not only talking about your boo. I'm talking about relationships with your children, your family, co-workers, having persistent thoughts and memories you cannot get out of your head. Hearing voices or believing things that are not true. Thinking of harming yourself or others, and an inability to perform daily tasks like taking care of your kids or getting to work or school. So here we talk about how we can help those that are dealing with a mental illness. You can recognize your own bias. What works for you may not work for someone else. Educate yourself more on mental illness. If you don't know, don't speak about it, right? You want to when you are talking to someone, you want to speak out of facts, right? So just educate yourself more on the things that you don't know. Show empathy and kindness to those living with mental illness. You don't know what is the reason why they got there, or what they went through before they became ill. Treat mental health disorders like any other illness, right? A person who has, let's say, cancer or Alzheimer's, right? They're not above them or lower than them, right? They're all illnesses, right? So treat them the same. Also identifying early warning signs so that you can better help them. Being non-judgmental is very much key, right? We don't want to judge people. We want to try to help them and also have open lines of communication so that they know that you're there when they need them, right? Have those open lines of communication with your families and friends. Check in with them. If you know that your family and friends, you haven't spoken to them in a while, check in with them. Hey, how are you? Just, haven't heard from you in a while. I just want to check in. Make that phone call, Here are some barriers also that people have when they're seeking mental health treatment. So language barrier can definitely be it, right? When you can't find someone who speaks your language. Immigration status, a lot of folks feel like, if I get help, they might call ICE on me, which is not true. Distrust in professionals, of course. Stigma, the family keeps private matters inside the household, right? We've all heard that, right? We don't talk about our problems outside, right? Or it gets brushed underneath the rug, and that really doesn't help anyone. Shame, right? You don't want to talk about your problems to anyone. Embarrassment, because it gives the family a bad reputation. Poverty can also play a big role in decision not to seek treatment. Less access to treatment, inability to find quality treatment, and also lacking multicultural mental health professionals, right? People who look like us or know our cultural backgrounds or religious backgrounds. So here we're talking about worsening mental health problems, and this is very important because the most obvious effect of untreated mental illness is a steady and often rapid decline in mental health. Mental illness will not go away on its own, and the longer it persists, the harder it is to treat. And this is why we talked about the early warning signs. And this presentation is not for adults. I just want to reiterate that. This is also warning signs that you can look for in your children. And the earlier that you recognize it, the better it is, right? Because the longer, as mentioned here, the longer it persists, the harder it is to treat. And I always like to make the analogy about a cold, right? When we have a cold or our children have colds, right? What do? We treat it, right? We take medicine or we drink some tea. We do something to treat it, right? We don't let the cough linger and then now we have a throat infection, right? We don't wait to get a throat infection to actually treat the cold. And so it's the same with our mental health. When we're feeling stressed, because that's where it all begins, it begins with stress. When we're feeling stress, learn tips or ways to manage your stress. Sometimes we stress our own selves and worrying about things that are out of our control, right? And so learn ways to manage your stress because as mentioned here, the earlier, the better, right? So people with depression, for instance, might only experience a handful of symptoms at first, but left untreated, they may begin to experience the full range of depression symptoms, necessitating more intensive treatment and more uncertain recovery journey. So again, the earlier, the better. Unexplained aches and pains. When a mental illness becomes too challenging to deal with, sometimes the body bears some of the burden. You might involuntarily tense your muscles, leading to headaches and muscle pain, or maybe chronic stress will lead to gastrointestinal distress. So again, mental health and physical health go hand in hand. You can see it here. If I'm not taking care of my mental health, I'm being affected physically and vice versa, right? And again, here's some ways of how, it can affect you, your physical health chronically, like your nervous system, endocrinology, infertility, your immune disorder. So mental illness is not at all in your head. It's the product of brain chemistry changes. Mental illness can undermine your physical health in at least two ways. First, chronic mental health issues may cause you to neglect your health, and as when a diabetic is too depressed to monitor his or her blood sugar levels. Second, mental health illness can be a health problem all on its own. Chronic stress is associated with risk of heart attacks, stroke, obesity, and premature death, and many other symptoms associated with mental illnesses that can cause that can also lead to serious health issues. Homelessness and job stabilities can also take a toll on our mental health, right? Mental illness makes it difficult to cope with demands of daily life, whether it's struggling to get out of bed or for work because of depression or experiencing communication difficulties due to schizophrenia. The longer mental illness is left untreated, the more likely it is to interfere with your ability to do your job and effectively interact with others. This can lead to financial troubles, job loss, and potentially even homelessness. So that's self-explanatory as is, right? Also incarceration, right? A lot of our family members of incarcerated folks are affected, right? They're not seeing their father or their mother, right? They don't understand why they had to be incarcerated. And so that definitely has an effect on lots of folks who are incarcerated. And it definitely takes effect on our mental health, right? So first, it's important to clear up a myth that mental illness does not cause violence. It does make it more difficult to conform to society's norms. For instance, a woman with PTSD pulled over by the police may enter a flashback, causing her to behave in an apparently non-compliant manner. A man with depression may feel so sad that he's unable to muster the energy to pay a traffic ticket, eventually leading to the issuance of a warrant. 73% of female state prison inmates and 55% of men have a serious mental illness. Also, victimization and trauma. When your brain undermines the ability to react, feel happy, or think clearly, you're more vulnerable to victimization. This can set off a chain reaction of victimization followed by PTSD, followed by unusual behavior that leads to even more victimization. And people with mental illness are significantly more likely to be victimized than those in the general population. Also, here we talk about suicide. As we all know, mental illness is a lack of coping skills or personal failure. It's a serious and potentially life-threatening illness. Left untreated, mental illness can make life intolerable and cloud your judgment so thoroughly that you see no way out and no hope. Life with mental illness is hard, and for some, it's unbearable. More than 90% of suicides are directly attributed to untreated mental illness. So again, everyone, your mental health counts. Your mental health is your emotional, psychological, and physical well-being. It affects how you function in your everyday life. And in order for us to lead successful and proficient lives, we need to take care of ourselves and our loved ones. Together, we can fight the stigma to help get the treatment that we need to live successful, self-filling lives. One last thing before we finish, I want to challenge you or give you a little homework, right? And this is something that you can do for your self-care. It's creating a self-care toolbox. It's a place where you list your stuff that makes you happy, anything that you think of positive thoughts, you want to put that in that box, right? It can be a shoe box, it could be an old tin, whatever it is that you want to create. You can also do this with your children as a bonding time, right? And you put everything in there that makes you happy, whether it's a reminder, like a bottle of bubbles that helps you, gives you a reminder to take a deep breath, right? When you're having those moments. Drinking water, because we need to stay hydrated. Oftentimes when we're feeling stressed, again, like mentioned in the PowerPoint, right? Sometimes we lack taking care of our physical health, right? We're not drinking enough water. We're not eating healthy, right? And so a reminder of those two things to put that in your box. Call a friend or two. I'm talking about your friend that is going to encourage you, right? Not your home girl that tells everybody's business and likes to gossip, right? I'm talking about somebody who's going to encourage you and lift you up. Enjoy your favorite scent. There's many scents that helps to calm your mood, like eucalyptus, lavender, vanilla, right? There's lots of candles, aromatherapy that helps people as well. So put that in your toolbox. Permission to color play. And I love this because oftentimes, even as parents, especially as parents, we don't give ourselves permission to do things that we like, or even give ourselves the time to do something that is important to us, like coloring, or even playing a game on your computer or on your phone. And also reminder to walk or stretch. Sometimes, remember how we spoke about our muscles tensing up? We are walking around like this most of the time, right? And we're not stretching out, right? We're not taking a walk, right? Our body needs a little bit of exercise. And I'm not talking about joining a gym. I'm talking about a little exercise like taking a walk on your lunch break, taking the stairs rather than the elevator, right? Listen to music. How many of us love to dance, right? Right, exactly. When you hear music, especially if your favorite genre, you're like, oh yeah, that's my jam and I want to dance, right? Put a reminder, put a CD, put a picture of their favorite artist and put it in that box, right? And again, reminder to meditate. And meditation is different for everyone, right? There's some folks who like to sit with their legs crisscross applesauce with their hands out, right? That doesn't work for everybody, right? Meditation can be simply just being like, even if you're in the park, listening to nature sounds, right? And closing your eyes and just really relieving yourself or releasing yourself from all the negative thoughts that you have in your head or anything that's really worrying you, right? So please take on that task, do that for yourself, create a self-care toolbox. Here are some references. I will be sharing this copy of the slide with Lameka and Cindy so that she can share with you all. And last but not least, if you feel like you've done all you can, please seek professional help. NYPCC is here for you. We are open 7 days a week. Once again, my cell phone number is in the chat. You can always reach me at any time. We hope that you will join our NYPCC family. We're on social media handles, and you can keep up with us at www.nypcc.org. And again, we also have 3 clinics, one in the Bronx, 2 in Brooklyn, but we do service all 5 boroughs. We thank you and we hope you stay well. And if you have any questions, I'll take them at this moment.
Sure. Yeah, how you doing, Selena? Hi. Thanks again.
You're welcome.
A question though, in the statistic in which you gave the gender breakdown, I was a little confused. Now, was that individuals who actually just so happen to be diagnosed with mental illness, or that was people who actually came forward and reported mental illness? I was kind of confused by that in terms of, the gender distinction.
So just to clear it up, that the information for that was founded on the internet, and we have the resources there. So I'll definitely, like I said, I'm going to give a copy so that you can research that further. But I believe it's the people who've come forth and to admitting that they had a mental illness. But again, okay. I will share the resource, the copy of the PowerPoint, Tyrone, with Lameka and Cindy. And if you want me to share it with you personally directly, you can put your email in the chat box and I'll send it to you.
Sure, appreciate that. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions? If you didn't take anything else away from this presentation, please remember that your mental health matters. Mental health is health. Mental health is a part of our physical health. They go hand in hand, and self-care is very important. I know that oftentimes it's very hard for us to do, but we have to at least take 15 minutes out of the day for ourselves, whether it's just to relax, close our eyes, take a deep breath, take a walk out in nature. Do that for yourself. Thank you so much.
I do have a question. I just wanted to know, do you only service individuals who are clinically diagnosed, or any individual who feel like they're suffering from depression or anxiety?
Any individual. If your child is too shy and doesn't know how to really connect with folks, that's something that we can help, right? So we treat anyone from being too shy to someone more severely, that, for someone who's just stressed out, that they don't know what to do or what to say or who to talk to more severe things like, schizophrenia and depression and things like that. So yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Selena, I had a question.
Yes.
Hi, nice to see you again. Do you do any testing to evaluate, let's say, if someone is on the spectrum, high functioning with Asperger's, or they're presenting as if they might have Asperger's? Do you do testing? And if so, is it accommodated by one's insurance, or do you provide free services for those with Asperger's, or workshops or things for them to engage socially?
So we don't have the servicing to treat Asperger's. However, during our intake process, they will be able to identify if that person has. And then what we do is we always refer out. We don't just leave anyone hanging. We make sure that they get the services that they need, whether it's a referral source or, connection right directly with another agency.
So it'll be more so connecting to somewhere else to get that tested. Yes, but there's a needs assessment type of thing.
Everyone goes through
Asperger's.
Yeah, everyone goes through intake here. Actually, 2 intake. They go through the 2-part intake process where they retrieve the demographic information, and then as well, background history. So with that, they might be able to, usually parents express like certain symptoms and things that are going on in their child. And if the intake worker sees that some of those symptoms, for instance, is Asperger's, they would recognize that and also refer them out.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Thank you once again to Lemeka and Cindy for allowing me to present. And I hope you all have a happy spring.
Thank you, Selena. We appreciate you. And just want to give a special shout out. If you guys didn't know, Selena is on our governance team. Woohoo! All righty. So we're going to continue on with our program for today. And now we're opening it up to program updates. So at this time, whoever would like to, feel free, unmute yourself and you can begin to share what's going on with your programs.
So since I'm already on, I'll go ahead and plug in. Our bi-monthly cafe, please everyone join us April 13th. I am sharing the flyer in the chat box. We're going to have an amazing topic on social anxiety. We've all went through the pandemic together. We're all dealing with social anxiety in some way, shape, or form, especially in our children. Please join us. We're going to have a great panelist talking about signs and symptoms and also things that we can do to kind of look at those warning signs and how we can help each other. But definitely join us virtually at the comfort of your home or your desk, wherever you are, April 13th at 5 p.m. And we'll be discussing social anxiety. I'll put the flyer in the chat box, and I'll also once again share it with Lemeka and Cindy so that she can distribute it to you all. Thank you so much.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tyrone McDonald with Nibbit Housing Services of Brooklyn. I will put this in the chat, but next week, Tuesday, on March the 29th at 6 p.m. In conjunction with Community Board 9, we are having a tenant webinar, what to do since the eviction moratorium has expired. It's going to be from 6 p.m. to 7:30, and feel free to join us. We're going to have attorneys there. We're going to discuss, we're going to have HRA there to discuss the one-shot dealing out of resources. We're going to have talk about the importance of renters insurance. As you know, there were quite a number of fires which displaced people. And people lost like a lot of belongings and stuff like that. So we'll talk about the importance of renters insurance. We're also going to have Flatbush tenant coalition, who's going to discuss ERAP as well as the importance of having a tenant association. All right. So I'm put that in the chat. It's going to be next Tuesday, March the 29th at 6 p.m. And I'm over and out. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry, somebody was going next.
You can go.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everybody is well and as they're enjoying their day. My name is Michelle Russell. It's not so much about what's going on, just to create an awareness for those of you that have not seen me here before. My name is Michelle Russell. I'm the outreach specialist at BCID, Brooklyn Center for the Independence of the Disabled, which is an independent living center, and it's a grassroots movement. We have locations throughout the 5 boroughs, but I am the one that represents for Brooklyn Disability Advocacy, Senior Care and Rights. So if any of you would like to reach out to me with regards to partnering or events, or you would like a presentation with regards to what my organization does, just a quick elevator, 10 seconds about who we are and what we do. It's about independence, helping one to remain independent, creating care options, understanding your care options in terms of healthcare, finding transportation and housing, learning about supports and caregiving services, and getting answers about Medicaid, Medicare, and health insurance. We will help you to apply for benefits and et cetera. So it's about connecting people with disabilities, whether you're diagnosed or not, visible or invisible, temporary disability, you broke your leg, whatever, we can assist with that. I'll put my information in the chat, and I look forward to having a conversation with any of you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. I just want to share some updates for LK Wellness. We're having some events coming up this week, and I'll share our event page in the chat. But tonight we're partnering with Chase Bank, and we're going to be discussing budgeting and saving. It's going to be tonight at 7 o'clock. It's an hour. I'm excited. I'll be there. I'll be taking notes. We also have on April 4th, it's called Shifting the Paradigm, and it's an open discussion with a panel of experts discussing autism within the BIPOC community. And then we also have our co-parenting to raise joyful humans group starting back up. And again, everything is on our website, which I'll share in the chat. And I'll also share our administrative assistant's email, and she'll be able to answer any questions about events.
Thank you.
I apologize. One more thing I wanted to mention. If anyone needs their taxes done and you make $58,000 or less gross income, BCID can help with tax preparation until April 6th. Again, I'm going to put my information in the chat. So that's free tax preparation if you make $58,000 or less, as it will be considered and probably be able to have that done. And also if you need test kits, I do believe we do still have some. So I just wanted to mention that in case that's useful to anyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Who else would like to share?
Well, just FYI to everyone, every 3 years, the Health and Hospital Corporation completes the community health assessment. And I'm going to share in the chat the link for you all. It only takes 5 minutes, and you can impact what happens and going forward in the hospital.
Thank you, Karen.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Keisha Sidney. I'm with Sesame Flyers, and I do community outreach with them. And I really wanted to reach out to everyone here on this call. We are in summer youth employment season, and we are looking for worksite providers because, as you guys know, this year they have increased the numbers to 100,000 kids. So we would really like to get more people involved, so we can have job placements for the kids. In East Flatbush Partnership newsletter this week, we do have our flyers that's in there. So next week, Wednesday, we are having an open house for work sites who would be interested, in coming on board with us. I'll put my information in the chat. If anybody would be interested, they can reach out to me, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Keisha. Who else would like to share?
Can I go?
Charlene, you can go, and then Abby can go.
Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Charlene Gordon from the New York City Department of Health. And my announcements basically is to let everyone know all the individuals who services families and also have staff. We do provide workshops for free. And you can, ask us to come virtually or in person to do some education on environmental hazards. I did put the information in the chat, and you can reach out. We do our sessions in English, Spanish, Bengali, and Russian. So you can reach out, and it's all free. And we also have some virtual sessions every month. You can check our website and see all the different topics that we do have. And yes, you do get a certificate, as I mentioned. And any question, just reach out to me in the chat. Take care.
Thank you, Charlene. Abby?
Hi, thank you. I'm Abby Jeffrey with JCCA. We are launching a new program starting in mid-April, we hope. We are going to be starting a Youth ACT team. It's for youth ages 10 to 21 who have a significant mental health diagnosis, who've been in and out of hospitalizations, or who are stepping down from a higher level of care. And the Youth ACT team approach is a multidisciplinary team approach to working with youth and their families. We'll have a psychiatric nurse practitioner, mental health professionals, a family peer advocate, clinical supports, and education specialist. And together the team will work with the youth and their family to help with the functioning and to try to keep the youth out of higher levels of care and out of the hospital. It's a really great approach. There's a lot of contacts each month. We go to the youth in the community and it's sort of almost like a mobile hospital support. So we're really looking forward to starting. Referrals will be through CSPOA, and we're the only agency providing the program in Brooklyn. So if you need to reach out with any questions, I'll put my email and phone number in the chat. Thanks.
Thanks, Abby. Anyone else like to share?
Yes. Hi. My name is Rihanna Samuel. I work for Safe Horizon. I'm the crime victims advocate. I just wanted to introduce our program to you guys. I do work at the 6-7 precinct on Snyder. I just wanted to, give a little bit more information in regards to our program to see, if you guys have anybody that you guys work with that you can refer to us. So in regards to the crime victim assistance program, what we do, as well as any other crime, assault, robbery, anything of that sort, in regards to assisting them navigate throughout the criminal justice system, whether that be getting in touch with the police department, the DA's office, family justice center, as well as any counseling that they may need, lock changes, things about that. It's really centered around what the client wants. So after our conversation, we can go forth from there. So I just wanted to introduce people. I have my information in there. I'll also put a link to the Safe Horizon website as well.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, almost evening. My name is Kamel Yard. I am the program director of the CUNY Fatherhood Academy at Kingsborough Community College. It's so good to see so many familiar faces and also to meet some new ones. We are actually currently recruiting for our spring HSE cohort, which is going to be starting in April. I did put some information in the chat earlier, but I'm going to repost it as well for those who may have come on later. The information in the chat will have links to our social media, a link to a video, which can give you a little more information about our program instead of just my elevator pitch, as well as our referral link. And I'm also going to share our newest flyer again, because I already shared that, as well as our partner one-pager earlier in the chat. But yes, we are a program for young fathers between 18 and 30 looking to get their high school equivalency. We offer GED prep, as well as parenting and personal development classes. So any other questions, feel free to reach out to us. My email is in the chat as well. And I look forward to hearing from folks. Thank you again.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, does anyone else have any program updates? Going once? Twice? Okay. All righty. So I'm going to go back to my presentation, and then we're going to wrap things up for today. Okay. So as usual, if you are not following us on social media, please feel free to do so on Facebook and Instagram. Our handle is East Flatbush Partnership. Our next meeting is going to be April 27th at 3 p.m. via Zoom. And as usual, I would love to share with you the zip codes that are in our catchment area: 11203, 11210, 11212, and 11226. So on that note, I want to thank you all for joining us today. We really appreciate you. And if anyone just has any closing comments, I'm actually curious as to what you all thought of today's meeting. It went a little bit longer than I thought, which is great, because I'm like, oh my gosh, the agenda isn't full today. We're going to finish so early. So I feel like we finished up at a good time, but I would love to hear your feedback as to what you thought of today's meeting. And, in general, if anyone has any closing remarks, now's the time.
So I will say something. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Monique Lindsay. I'm with the Citywide Oversight Council. I'm one of the family co-chairs. So I just wanted to say I came on late, but as always, your presentations are always great. Thank you, Selena. And you stay on task, because, there's a lot of organizations out here, but that doesn't mean they know everything that's going on. So I appreciate coming to your meeting, and, you know, everyone is listening intently, and we come in here to get something to feed us so that we can go out to our communities and share. And I am so impressed that mental health is still number one on everybody's mind, and we're still out there trying to continue to rid our society of the stigma of mental health, because it's real, y'all. And there's a lot of folks out there committing suicide, especially our young people, that's not being addressed. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for your kind words, Monique. This is so informal, no pressure, but anyone else have any comments to make before we wrap things up?
You love your meetings always. It's always encouraging. Coming off of even Ketanji Brown Jackson's the hearing, it's like she is doing us proud, and so are you.
Yes,
absolutely.
Great, thank you.
I was gonna say the same thing. Just continue. You and Cindy are doing a great job. Just continue following your heart and your passion, and, you know, doing a great job with the East Flatbush CPP. You should be proud.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. So we're gonna wrap things up for today.
Yes, Selena, you were wonderful. It was nice to see you and actually hear your presentation in reverse. And thank you, Lamika. And I'm actually going to try to see if we could.
You're muted now, Ms. Russell.
I'm sorry, did I, oh, sorry about that. Selena, thank you for your presentation. It was wonderful and great. I don't know what y'all heard or what happened, but it's a pleasure to be here. Always great. I look forward to having a conversation just for 2 seconds with you afterwards, Lamika. To everyone here, stay out there, boots on the ground, fight that good fight, and encourage yourself and others, and speak a word over yourself. Speak a word over yourself and find bright moments. I just want to put that out there. And I want to say, yes, Judge Ketanji Jackson, you go, girl, and all of us here, let's get it, okay?
Thank you. All righty, everyone. We're going to end things for today. Have an amazing rest of your week, and we'll see you all next month. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.